Yeah, but it might go black.
What's your?
Why?
We're live right here.
Live.
We're live right here. I may have to get out of here.
Don't go live. It's at 7.
Get out of here. Go ahead. We're good. We're live here. Are we live yet? Yeah. Wait, no, stay out of here. I don't want to go. Is this one? Are we live? Is Instagram live right now? Are we good? Yeah. What is happening? This is wild. We don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know what's happening. Oh, Nicole. Nicole's acting a fool right now.
One more time.
Who we got? Anybody on here yet? Hey, will you bring me that guy? No. The iPad over there. Who's on? Let me see who's on. What's going on? Hey, Braden. A bunch of other people. I don't know. Raven, Ethan. Marcelo, what's up? Who's in here? Don't worry about why the floor has plastic on it. Hello, everyone. How we doing? Hey, everyone put a one-word comment on how your day has been. Positives. I want to know a positive one-word comment for how your day has been going. Y'all let me know. How we doing? Y'all let me know. Oh, what's that? Oh, Marty checking in on the YouTube. Marty's in. Look at that. Hello, Lisa. Hey, Kirby. Oh, Kevin, my guy. What's up? Oh man, what a day! What a time to be alive! What a day it is! It's a Wednesday. It is Midweek Online. It is 7:02. I believe is what we got going. There's two people trying to pose as Marcelo. So the original Marcelo one is the correct one. So the one that the message was from is the correct one. The other two are not. Or the other one, whatever it is. However many are. He says, kick them. That's good. Hannah's on here. How we doing? Nick. Hello. We're about to get started. My favorite thing is where I just sit here awkwardly because people are joining still, and we're not ready to fully go. Yeah, I could just do awkward silences. That would be great if you want me to do awkward silences. That would be fun. That would be a fun time. What's going on? Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, wait, not yet. I don't want y'all over here yet. Here's the deal. So we are going to do a little game here and stay as close to 6 feet apart as we can here, but really an arm's length apart is going to be close enough as we go in and out of here. But we're going to play this game, and as you can see behind me over here, we got some items, and I'm going to be asked some questions. If I get the answer incorrect, you will then see what happens with those items. And so let's go ahead and do this. And so Presley, Nicole, you'll go ahead and come back here. We're gonna get started. It's gonna be something. I'm gonna go ahead and probably wear these goggles for the sake of just my well-being, and also just to make a fool of myself as I have them on. But gotta protect the eyeballs. That'll be good. This is gonna be so fun. Oh man, here we go. Okay. All right. Let's do this. All right. Are y'all ready? I hope so. I hope that y'all can still
Yeah.
be seen
You
in
want to take
that
your
one.
watch off?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good
So
idea.
we're gonna be asking him whose favorite what, and he's to try to guess if it's me or Presley. And so if he gets it wrong, then these lovely items that we'll show you will go on his head. But if he gets it right, he's safe.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting.
So hopefully,
Comment how many things you think Taylor's gonna get right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Probably not.
and try and answer see if you can get them right. See if y'all can get these right.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
All right,
right,
guys,
we'll
let's
kick
do
off.
it. Here we go. Oh,
All right,
okay.
Taylor,
Yes.
whose favorite fast food is Chick-fil-A?
I think Nicole.
Oof.
No.
Oh,
Sorry, Fred, that is not
here we
correct.
go.
I have
Let's
Nicole,
search.
I have Chick-fil-A about 3 times a week, so
What do
it's
you
definitely
what
my
is that?
favorite. I think I'm gonna start with the shaving cream.
That's a good
You know,
call. That's a good call. That's
not too bad.
low tier
We'll
kind of.
blow it up,
kind of
like lots of it.
nah, I don't know. Oh,
Oh,
okay. Wow,
hold
that was
on.
not good.
Nice.
That was not there.
There
Oh,
it
look at
is.
that. Okay.
Keep going.
Wow.
More,
Oh,
more.
Okay, I don't know if we need more.
Okay. Whose favorite color is navy blue?
Navy blue. I'm gonna go with Nicole.
Yes and no. So
My favorite color is also navy blue. Kind of tricked you on that one.
So
Oh
we're
no, that can't count. I got it right.
I
Didn't
got
I?
it. We'll count
I
it.
got it
Yeah,
right.
we got it.
We're gonna put eggs on his head.
Oh, so I still I got it wrong. Oh no.
You're gonna cry.
Oh.
I was gonna.
You just
So right here,
you
here we
can just smack it. Okay.
Oh, there
that
it
one.
goes.
Oh, it rolled
Oh,
right
that
off.
one
Rolled
is-
right off.
Y'all are
Right
y'all
off
didn't-
I just
Oh,
he's
I was
just going first.
Oh, you're okay. All right, we're doing another one. Oh
She's
my.
not gonna do
That,
it. That's it. Yeah.
that got yeah.
Yum.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I think
Okay.
Let's go. Let's
next
go.
one.
Let's keep moving.
Whose favorite mode of transportation is boats?
Oh, Presley's for sure. She always talks about boats.
that one's right.
That
No,
is
it's
I'll give
easy.
you
That's an
pass.
easy
I do.
one.
I
We
do
will
love
spare the
boats.
mayonnaise.
If you don't know that answer, then you don't know Presley.
Exactly. That's all I talk
Sorry.
about.
She loves her boats.
Let me get one of those questions.
Okay, yeah, you can hear.
All right. Whose Starbucks order is a caramel iced latte?
If you know anything about this person, you know this answer. That's Nicole.
Yeah.
That would be right.
How many times a week would you say you go to Starbucks?
You know, lately since this quarantine, I would say twice a week, which is pretty
Used to
surprising.
it every day.
Used to
A
every
little
day.
bit.
Used to
Now
every
she's like
day.
normal.
Okay, this is more challenging. Whose favorite movie is Walk the Line?
Oh man. Yo, this egg is kind of cold. Walk the line. I really don't know. Presley.
I've never seen that movie in
Oh.
my life.
It's a good movie.
Oh, I should've known.
So good.
Okay.
Definitely my favorite.
I'll have to check that one out.
What we
What are you
got
gonna go for?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
I almost forgot. Hey, we can move on. This is good.
The Ranch.
Oh,
man.
no.
Now
Oh,
it's
I
not
forgot
moving.
about that.
No one
Oh,
has been ready.
It's been sitting out for a long time.
Oh man,
Oh,
that's
wow.
bad.
Okay.
man.
Oh, I smell it. Yeah. I'd like me some. It's still
It's
cold.
really going
Okay,
in.
that's
It's
enough. I think
really
you're
going in. I'm really going in with the rain.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, Lord, wow.
What's the question that you
That's cold
asked?
too.
To walk the line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, is this Rainford?
All right.
Oh, that's gross.
Oh, no,
Whose
this
favorite dinner time meal is spaghetti? Or just meal.
Spaghetti. Nicole?
Yikes! No. I am a spaghetti fiend. Love it.
I almost was positive it was Nicole.
I
I
actually hate
think I'm gonna go with the
I
honey,
feel like she's just God.
raw and
She's a
unfiltered.
solid Italian
100%.
food person. But
I do, but
here we go. Okay. Oh, that was like in the front of my face and
It's like
my
having
back.
seen the
Wow,
Parent
what
Trap.
are you-
This is what that is.
Oh no.
There you go.
Oh,
I think that was good.
oh my. This was a bad idea. I
You got some
immediately.
all over the
I
ground.
regret my decision.
Okay.
The goggles were a good move.
Yeah,
Whose
they were.
favorite season is fall?
Honey is dripping on my goggles. I just see it dropping down. Fall. I feel like I should know this one, but now I can't remember. Nicole.
No, I actually like spring.
Yeah, fall time. I do love it. So I think I'm gonna go catch up on this one. This is a little hard. I don't know if I can take the smell of this one.
Okay.
So sorry in advance.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Well, I thought this was going on my
There
head.
you go.
Presley decides that it goes wherever.
Oh,
Okay.
that's so gross.
That's,
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh, honey's on my arm now.
Well, it could be worse.
All right.
It could be. I should have worn a jacket.
Whose favorite fruit is raspberries?
Raspberries. I feel like Presley. She really likes fruit.
You're really bad at this, aren't
Oh,
you?
no.
You're really.
Shoot.
That's me. That's me.
Oh no.
The mustard. What should I go?
If we just say ketchup,
Oh,
we might
okay.
as well do. Well, okay.
Jelly.
I got
Sure.
honey from somewhere onto my hand and now it's on my leg.
We're gonna go with the jelly. So it was cheaper to buy it from the.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay.
Wait.
Well, no, I think you're good. Oh.
Save some for your PB and J's later this
Okay.
week. I do like this
I
sauce.
think we're
on.
good.
I know,
I
you
should have
like
taken
the
my
sauce.
socks off. I'm just gonna sit like this.
We're good with the jelly. Okay.
All right.
Oh, if y'all could see his hand right now.
Here it is.
Okay. Whose favorite
Let me see.
hairstyle?
I can see honey on my shorts.
Are you paying attention?
I am.
Whose favorite hairstyle is a low ponytail? Go to.
That's like a ponytail but low.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Like,
I can feel this dripping down the side of my head. Oh, there it goes on my shoulder. Nicole.
Wrong again.
What was it? Oh, the low ponytail. That's
Yeah.
Presley. That's her
This
go-to.
honey keeps dripping into my mouth.
There's a lot of options here. Should I do another egg? I'm kind
Good
of
thing I
thinking.
like
Try
honey.
the mustard.
The mustard.
Try the
Okay.
mustard.
This one, I'm not a fan of mustard. So.
Me either. This is so much fun.
Mustard
There
is
we
the
go.
This
best.
is bad.
Comment
Oh,
mustard or ketchup.
man.
Please keep that.
Oh, man.
Please don't put that in my face, please.
Comment mustard or ketchup. I'm a
Mm.
Yeah,
mustard
go
fan.
to. Okay. You gonna do that last one, Nicole?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Whose favorite TV show is The Office?
Nicole.
Yes, you would be right.
That's
And you're
correct.
saved. I think that's
Is that it?
Should we do one more, just for good measure?
yeah, just for good measure.
Okay. Whose birthday is in August?
Oh gosh. Presley.
Oh,
That is
good. All right, no Coke for sure.
Oh yes. I did not want the Coke
It's,
happen.
we got a lot of smells
Oh,
going on
yeah,
over
we do.
here.
I
We're
feel
gonna
like-
clean and
I feel like this should be
move over to the couch for a next message.
Yeah,
Taylor,
y'all go
are you
ahead.
good right there?
Yeah, I'm
You
just
guys-
gonna hang here for a while.
Stay put there. I
I'm
think
gonna
we're
figure
good.
Stay there.
Figure out how to clean
I'm just gonna.
off. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Y'all have fun over there with Presley and Nicole. Good luck. Good luck. Oh.
Yep, there we go. This is our nice little transportation. Nice little move. Taylor's over there just confused of what to do. All right. Oh, they're saying bye, Taylor. Yes. Bye indeed. All right. Yep. Presley, take a seat. Looks good.
Alrighty. How's everyone doing? Having a good day? I hope.
Yes, that was fun. That
It
was.
was, it was tough.
What was the worst one?
I think the ketchup just smelled the worst, and so it was kind of bad for all of us. I mean, I'm sure Taylor didn't enjoy it. But
Yeah, that ketchup was out for a while. The ranch was
it's all
all
been
over,
sitting,
and he started
sitting
to-
out for a while.
started to eat it. I have eggs on my hand, but
That's no
we're
fun.
it's okay. We're going. Yeah. What are we doing?
Yeah, so tonight we want to talk a little bit just about our quarantine experience, some things that we've been struggling with, some things that we think we can help y'all with. So
I love it. So, speaking of, how's your quarantine going?
yeah,
What's
y'all,
challenging?
quarantine is hard. It's definitely been tough. I've definitely been struggling a little bit with different things, motivation for school, stuff like that. So that's definitely been a struggle, but I'm learning every day, just trying to find things that are working for me, find things that aren't working so much, and turning those into things that are easier and better for me. So definitely an adjustment, but I think the longer it goes on, the more I'm adjusting. So yeah.
And what would you say you're learning right now?
Yeah, the Lord has been teaching me so much during this time. I think I've definitely been working on what it looks like. And so one of the things that I've been learning the most during this time is just what it means to understand things. And so At the beginning of this whole quarantine, I was very frustrated and very just confused as to what the Lord could have in this season and what um, it just looks like to be in quarantine. This is something different for all of us. I know we're missing out on a lot of things. And so it was very hard for me to understand what good could come out of this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And in Acts 1, Jesus is talking to the apostles, and they ask him, when or at what time is he going to restore the kingdom of Israel? And he responds with, "It's not for you to know the times or dates the Father has set by his own authority." And when I read this, I was just kind of convicted a little bit. I think it definitely taught me that it's not my job to understand everything that happens and why the Lord does certain things, but it is my job to trust him and lean in to that trust that he has for me. And so I think over the period, I've definitely been resting more in his hands. And in Psalm 23, it actually says that he makes us lie down in green pastures, and that's what he's doing right now. He's making us rest, and he's making us have peace in this situation. And so I just think that's something really cool that I've been learning during this time. What about you? How's your quarantine been going, Nicole?
Yeah, I loved what you said. Psalm 23 is a really good place to rest in. But I would say those first few weeks were very challenging for me. And as time goes on, it's changing. Like it used to be difficult. It still very much is. But I think the hardest thing for me is finding that drive to stay going and going and going and trying not to sleep your days away. And sometimes I've done that of, you know what, I don't have much to do today. So you know what, I'm just going to sleep in a little bit later. And so having to be mindful that I don't want to waste that time. So that's been a challenge, knowing I could be doing something better at that time. And also, again, just kind of maximizing that. And things I'm learning is just how temporary everything is. Of at a time, like our economy was great, things were going well, and then events were going to happen. And next thing you know, things just turn over. And so it just goes to show you we're not home yet. Like this is still our temporary home. And so like it's going to get hard, but then again, resting in the fact that it's not over yet and that we still get to go home. And also just kind of resting in Lamentations 30:23 and 22:23 of just every day God's mercies are new and there's good things to happen. And so knowing that if you have a bad day, one day you get in a fight with your family, or you're just getting annoyed being stuck and confined, the next day praying for change, I think is really cool. That's something God gives us. But
yeah, that's awesome. One of the things that I think I've noticed has been a struggle, and I think that we've both kind of talked about a little bit, is just what accountability looks like during this time. It's really easy to fall into temptation when you're not, in a church surrounded by your leaders, surrounded by your accountability partners that you have all the time. So with that, I would just encourage y'all to not let quarantine be an excuse for your sin. It's still sin, and we are first and foremost accountable to God, and that doesn't change based on where we're at. So Nicole, what are some just practical ways? What do you think about when you think about accountability?
That's a good question. When I think of accountability, I almost think of community, and James 5:16 says to confess to one another, and then a righteous person will pray over that. And so I think it's so important right now to have that core group. Even still, you're in isolation, and Satan can do some mighty powerful things in isolation. But when you bring it to the light and you tell others that they know what to hold you accountable over, it's hard to fix something when you don't share it. And so having that core group of friends in my life and telling them where I fall short is huge. And I think just when you have someone accountable, it makes you want to be better. And so I'm going through a book, 1 Samuel, with a friend of mine, and knowing that every Friday we have to have a certain amount of chapters read helps me to want to read it so that I don't come up looking shorthanded, and it's pushing me to be in the Word. So having that accountability, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what are some practical ways that you've practiced accountability or that you've seen?
Yeah, I think it's really important to not give up on the community that you have within the church. I know it's a little bit harder now that we're not seeing each other, every Wednesday, every Sunday, but they're still there for you. And so I think something that could be cool, like if you're younger and you want somebody older to pour into you, or vice versa, if you're older and want to pour into somebody younger, like reach out to us or just reach out straight to whoever you have in mind, to just mentor, lead, keep accountable for those things. Also, maybe starting a Bible study with a friend group over Zoom, over FaceTime, or getting a group of friends to just once a week talk about what you're learning in your quiet time, I think can help keep you accountable with that. Make sure that you're keeping up with them, like Nicole said, so you don't show up empty-handed or not prepared for that. So yeah, take advantage of the community that we have here.
So with this time, I think we all have most of us have been on social media a lot. Those that are on Instagram Live, we get to have this platform in a cool way, but what are some tips and tricks you use when navigating social media kind of now?
Yeah, I am definitely guilty of overindulging in social media right now. It's so easy to just pick up our phones and, scroll for hours even. So something that I would encourage y'all is this is one of the only ways that people are seeing from you, getting communication from you. So use it smart. Don't, cause somebody else to stumble because of the things you're posting. Use it to encourage, to teach, to communicate with those people that you're not necessarily seeing every day, and use it to just for our greater purpose, to fulfill that. And something that I think is a little interesting that I think maybe y'all could practice, just it's okay if you're scrolling and you find yourself comparing yourself to, it can be either a friend or somebody famous or somebody that looks like they're just in the best time of their life right now. Instagram is just us putting our best parts out there. So if you see that and you're comparing yourself and it's causing you to, sin, to stumble, it's okay to unfollow that person, whether they're a friend, whether they're somebody else that you don't know. If that person has their best interest in you, they'll understand that they don't want to cause you to stumble. And even if that's not necessarily their intentions with the post, if that's what it's doing, it's okay to unfollow them for that reason. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think there are a lot of pros and cool things that social media has to offer, like one being Instagram Lives for us getting to talk to you virtually, but also like I would lean in with caution because there's a lot of dangers, I think, within social media. One being letting it become an idol. I've shared this verse, 1 Corinthians 6:12. All things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be dominated by anything. And so what that's saying is it's not illegal to have social media. Like, it's not saying it's bad, but if you put it over everything, it could be. And so making sure that social media isn't becoming an idol for you right now, and easier said than that. Like right now, it's so easy to just sit there and kill hours on your phone, just kind of on social media. And so setting time limits, doing all things just that glorify God. And so anything that doesn't is sin. And so maybe you lean into your friends and say, hey, you know what? I've been on Snapchat or I've been on Instagram too much. Will you hold me accountable in this so that I don't fall into it? And just because everyone's doing it, everyone's following the trends, doesn't mean that you need to conform to this world, like Romans 12:2 talks about. And so be set apart. Don't just follow what others are doing. Don't post pictures that aren't building others up. And so do people love Jesus more from a post you made, or is it causing them to doubt or stumble or whatever that looks like? Yeah, what I would challenge.
Yeah. Another thing that I think has been a big struggle, and for me and us also, is just what it looks like to have purpose during this time. I know a lot of the things that we did or spent majority of our time doing in the past are taken away from us right now, and that a lot of times is what we find purpose in, is what we find our identity in. But just remembering that that's not where our identity comes from. Our identity doesn't come from our friends or our school, or the things that we're missing out on, and we aren't entitled to those things either. Even if we feel like those are things that we deserve, they're not. And so I think just doing things to be able to find a purpose and remembering what our ultimate purpose is. 1 Peter 2:9 says that we're a chosen people, royal priesthood, to better build the kingdom of God. And our purpose doesn't change with the season. And so even during the season where things don't look the same that they might, our purpose hasn't changed in that. So yeah, what are some important things to keep in mind, Nicole, when we think about that?
I think that's the biggest question, almost like the biggest question to ask ourselves of what is our purpose. And so makes me think there's a book called The Purpose Driven Life, and Michael Phelps was a gold medalist in swimming in the Olympics. He won the most decorated American in Olympics for us. And so he actually ended up doing some really hard things, ended up going to rehab, and he even doubted, I have it all, but yet I have nothing. And so he ended up in rehab, and a friend put in him a book called The Purpose Driven Life, which had scripture, which had truth, which talked about what your purpose was, and that's to know Jesus first and then to tell others about who Jesus was. And so getting to watch him, I would go look it up, like kind of look at his testimony, but he was struggling without purpose, was lost, was having an identity crisis, and then tripped over Jesus. And when you trip over Jesus, it's hard to not change your entire life and want to live for him. And so that's one thing like that always stuck out to me with purpose, but also just not wasting your time, I think, because it's easy, like at the beginning, again, kind of your perspective change. If you just dwell on this got canceled, that got canceled, like guilty right here. But knowing, yes, it got canceled, what are you going to do about it? And so a lot of hard things happen in the Bible to characters, and they're like, okay, this happened, what am I going to do about it? How am I going to move forward? And asking us that question and just kind of saying, suck it up, like we're in battle, like God said it wasn't going to be easy. And so knowing that and moving forward, because there's still work to be done, there's still others that don't know Christ, we're still here in 2020 because God hasn't taken us up yet, because there's still work to be done. And so just not using that time as a waste. I love this question, so I could keep going on about it. And our goal is to make disciples, and so not sitting around, not wasting time. But if you're having problem with figuring out what your purpose is, that's the first thing that's going to change your whole mindset. Because if you don't get that switch, the other things might not fall into place, like accountability or social media, if your heart's tugging for a different place, which is why God talks about the heart so much in the Bible, is because it's so important to him. But what about you?
Yeah, I, like you said, our ultimate goal, our ultimate purpose on this earth is to make disciples. And that can be really hard when we're not getting to see people every day, and when maybe we're not surrounded by as many unbelievers as we usually are, in school or just around. And so with that being said, that doesn't mean that you can't do those things. I know, like we said, through social media, through, calling a friend, encouraging a friend, sending a friend a Bible verse once a week, something like that, to be able to do that. But also using this time to equip yourself for when, we are able to go back into the schools. So when we are able to go back into, where people are engulfed in the world and what, and worldly beliefs rather than, what the Lord wants for us. And so just making sure that we're equipping ourselves, getting ready for when we can go out and we can be able to make those disciples, like our ultimate purpose is.
Yeah. Another thing, I don't know if y'all have seen, it makes me also, I love analogies and I love using stories to help with messages, but there's a movie called Yesterday. And have you heard of the Beatles?
Of course, yes.
So it's a famous band. So if you don't know them, they're pretty cool.
You live under a rock.
They're pretty cool. But so it's about this movie, and this guy wakes up, he gets hit by a bus, and then the next day wakes up and no one knows who the Beatles are. And so he's kind of stuck there, like no one knows this band. So then he's trying to become an artist. So he memorized all the songs, wrote them down, and starts recording them to release into the world. And then they hear it and they're like, oh, these are such good songs. But they weren't his, so they were the Beatles. And it made me think, like, what if, like, the Bible just disappeared? Like, we got hit by a bus or something. And then the next day woke up. Like, do we know the Bible well enough that we could quote it? Like, we know some songs. Like, there's countless Justin Bieber songs I know. Like, I'm not going to need that. Like, yeah, they're fun, but that's not a biggest investment of my time. And so I would challenge you to, I love challenges. So read Bible, like memorize a book, memorize a chapter, a paragraph, because I think that would be a great investment for you. So say whatever happens, it's good to, what we talked about last week, store it up in your heart to go into the world with your scripture.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, I just hope that this has encouraged you all. I know we touched on a couple different things, but just like we've been saying this whole time, don't waste this time. Make it useful. Do something that, it's not our job to know the time or when this quarantine will be lifted, but we want to say, during this time, Nicole has said multiple times, this is going to be in history books, and this is something that we're going to talk about for a really long time. So what do you want to say that you accomplished during this time? Do you want to say that you didn't get anything done, you were super lazy, laid in your bed scrolling all day? Or do you want to say that you used this time to equip yourself with the knowledge of the Bible, with learning what it means to rest in the Lord's promises and to trust him more?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and again, I think there's a lot of good things that you can, like, yes, it's hard. Like, for example, I had a friend who was supposed to get married in May. I was telling our seniors this a while ago, but they were supposed to get married in May. They had postponed their wedding till fall and decided, you know what, we're going to get married. They got married last week. And so they Zoom called their family. They had the pastor there. They went out in the field, had the dress, had the tux, and then they got married. And so it's not about where. And I think we get so caught up in the details. Yes, that's not the wedding that they envisioned, but how are they going to be able to talk about what happened during COVID-19? Oh yeah, we got married like in a field. And that's a cool story. And so when people ask me what I did, like, I don't want to just have an embarrassing list of, oh, I binge watched a whole TV series, guilty, but I want it to mark my life in a different way.
Yeah, that's good.
So we have these last few minutes. So if y'all have a question or something you want clarity over, send it right here.
But tell us what you've been doing with your time in quarantine, something cool, unique that you think is important or others could learn from. Tell us about it right there. Let us know.
Because we know there's stuff that y'all are struggling with that we aren't even thinking about. And that's something we are wanting to learn more about to better pour into y'all. And so, again, if you have questions, shoot them out. We'll try to answer them right here. If you have questions, concerns, shoot them out. But Presley, what does a normal day for you kind of look like
in quarantine? Every day is a little different. Depends on what I have to get done for school. Depends on, how lazy I'm being that day, which I'm definitely guilty of. But usually I try to wake up at a decent hour. This morning it was 5 a.m. for different reasons. But usually around 9 a.m., 10 a.m. to be able to get up. I like to get out of my pajamas. Makes me feel more motivated. I know it's easy to just stay in your pajamas and stay in bed all day, but I like to get out of my pajamas, make my bed, make a place where I can concentrate, focus, do my quiet time. And then I get the things done for school. I like to get those done early so I don't have to worry about them later in the afternoon. And then just spend time doing, something productive. I've picked up embroidery, learning how to do that.
Okay.
It's fun. I really enjoy it.
What have you made so far?
I got a little hoop with an outline, started doing that, realized that I couldn't personally wear that to flex on everybody else with my time in quarantine. So I started doing, shirts and shoes and things that I could actually wear out and show people that I am talented in some sort. So what about you, Nicole? What have you been doing? Or what's a typical day?
Yeah. So I'm a math major, so I'm wanting to be a math teacher. And so doing a lot of math online, having to find the motivation to do that, going on walks. This week looks different because it's colder. So I haven't quite got out there yet, but I will. I went through my room, went through a bunch of old things, donated some stuff, was able to get a bunch of just things from high school that have just kind of been sitting there collecting dust. So that was pretty productive, but there's still stuff to do, just having to do that motivation.
We got,
kind of do it.
Totes Capone says he's been running, which is good for you. I applaud you for that one. I've said multiple days, maybe I should go for a run today, and it never happens. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but with how long we might be in here, I might start running. So
yeah, running ain't my forte. Anything else? Besides,
not my thing.
besides probably running. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how's it been with Ellis? You keeping good?
Ella's good. You know, it's hard when your whole family's in the house, and I know everybody's been doing that with their family. It's easy to get, lose your patience easily, which I am definitely guilty of. So sorry to my family. I love you all. But yeah, it's easy. Just making sure that, we are realizing that everyone's in the same boat, and that just different ways that we can be encouraging and helpful to our families, and building up Christ in those relationships. So
I think that's huge. And I think during this time, I think families are coming together more. You see them eating at the dinner table, whereas you have busy schedules and sometimes you just forsake that family time. And so they're getting to do that, and that's probably making Satan really mad. And so there's a lot of cool things happening, and it's hard because sometimes patience is being tested. Sometimes you might not get along super well with your family, but I would challenge you during this time when you are in close quarters, how can you be loving them? How can you be helping your parents, if that's doing the dishes for them, for your mom, even though you hate doing the dishes, or doing the laundry, picking up around the house if you can, just doing things to love on your family. And that's a ministry in itself. And so again, I think there's a lot of cool things happening, and we just have to look at the opportunities and look for the positives rather than the negatives, and then reach out to your accountability group when you need help.
Yeah. Kaylin said she likes to FaceTime her friends, which I love to do that. I FaceTime my friends all the time, every day. So one thing I would like to challenge you this week, FaceTime a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. I think you can spend a lot of time talking to them. I have done that a couple times, just calling people that it's been a while since I've talked to them, and catching up is a really cool thing that we can do during this time when we have a lot of time to do that. So.
There's a group of friends I know that they FaceTime every night. Yeah. And so that, I bet, is something I'll look forward to, knowing you're getting to just kind of dive into those friendships and get to know one another.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. I would encourage you all, again, I know this time is just, it's hard not being able to see each other all the time and not being here on Wednesday nights and Sundays, because I know that's a favorite of a lot of your weeks. But just think about how sweet it's going to be whenever we are able to do that, and just continuing to build those relationships in that community during this time, so that when we are back together, it's, we pick up right where we left off, and it's just such a more sweeter time than whenever we couldn't do that. So
yeah. And so with that, pay attention to what you pay attention to. Be mindful on social media. Keep accountability, even though you're in isolation. Know what your purpose is, and that's to make disciples. How can you be doing that at home? Maybe that's in your homes with your families. And just love on one another during this time. I'm excited to be reunited with y'all again, but until then, we're just going to keep going, and we're just going to keep going. We're going to suck it up, put our pants on, because we're in battle. And so let us know how we can better serve you, what you want us to talk about, what you need encouragement in. We're going through 1 Corinthians if you're just tuning in for that. So
it's not too late to catch up.
It's not too late. So hop in. Tomorrow we're going to be in 1 Corinthians 8, and today we got to hear Autumn. So in chapter 7. So go look at that, read through it, and go through it with our students. But Taylor has come back in the room. He's clean. All of the ranch and the ketchup and the eggs are gone.
It's all gone.
That's
still over there on the floor, but not on him.
Yeah. So with that, Taylor, you got anything? That's a no. He told us no. And so with that, we love y'all. Message us how we can do that. But Preston, you want to pray for us?
I would, yes.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Dear Lord, I just thank you so much for this time that we have, Lord. I know it looks a lot different than when we were able to come and gather here as a community, Lord, but I just thank you for the technology that we're able to do this and continue to reach out to our students, Lord. I pray that they will continue to be encouraged and motivated during this time, Lord, and using it for good, and to build your kingdom, so that they're able to say that during quarantine they did build your kingdom, Lord. I just continue to pray for them, their families, anything that's going on there, Lord. I thank you for all the prayer requests that they have, Lord. I know your hands are on all of those, and I again, just thank you so much for this time that we have, and we love you, and we praise you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, catch y'all next week.
See you later.
Peace out.